And now we're live through the magic of technology. Hopefully, some people are on here now that we've caught up with time. Hopefully, I'm not going to make you late by starting late.
No, I'm fine.
Perfect. Perfect. We'll see some people in just a moment as the chat kicks in. And if you're just joining us, please comment in the comment section so we know the technology is working and that you're out there and that we can there. Hey, Pat, how are you? From the wilds of New Jersey. Yesterday's live with Billy, we got about 40 minutes in, and all of a sudden the sound kicked off,
Oh, no.
and nothing we could do would revive it. So if that happens, we'll bail on it and we'll take comments in the questions. So welcome everyone to another Facebook Live in support of this year's Healthy Dog Expo. The expo will be held in May of this year, and my lovely guest will be joining us. My guest is Kay of Real Dog Box's Feed Real movement. And since we're a little bit late, let's just dive right into a little bit about you, Kay, and a little bit about the program.
Okay, well, I'm a registered veterinary technician. Graduated from Purdue 40 years ago. I was like in the fifth class that graduated from their Purdue vet tech program. And I have done quite a few different things. I started in practice for 2 years, quickly became bored with giving vaccines and giving heartworm and flea talks and all that. And the university in my area was just opening an animal research facility. Something I never thought I would do, but I went for it. Ended up staying there for 32 years. And during that time, I went from being the vet tech to an associate director of both animal facilities. And so I really found that academia and research and writing were something I really, really enjoy. My job ended abruptly when the university decided that middle management wasn't part of their paradigm anymore. And so in 2017, I didn't have a job. And so I was able to actually retire because their retirement age was right where I was, which ended up working out really well. I retired. I took 18 months off and did nothing, kind of figured out what I wanted to do next. And very unlikely went into human medicine for 3.5 years, right during COVID. It was not the right timing. And I needed to get out of that. So while I was doing that, I found the Real Dog Box job in 2021. I was working with Ruby part-time for a year and still working at the MedPoint urgent care. But I went full-time with Ruby in 2022, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
It's a whole lot better than human medicine.
Oh,
Joining human medicine and then having a pandemic break.
Oh, I tell you, it was not good.
It had to be challenging.
It was
really challenging. So the Feed Real movement is kind of part of Real Dog Box, but also a little bit different, a little bit separate.
Right. So basically, it's the educational component of Real Dog Box. Ruby has such good foresight to see that not only can she offer treats and chews that are all natural, but she can provide the education through this Feed Real site. And that was what my goal is. As a veterinary technician, I had to totally do paradigm shifts since I started with this job. I was trained that kibble was what you fed your dog. I did the Hills courses throughout my life.
And you got the free scrub shirt.
Got free scrubs. Yeah. I mean, the whole bit, and didn't question it. Didn't even question it. Fed my dogs kibble. Started with Feed Real. It's like you knock yourself on the head and think, why did I do this for so long? What was I thinking? So I have done a total paradigm shift, and it didn't take long for me to see the light. I mean, I started researching and I started writing, and it was just such an aha moment for me.
Well, the first time you see a dog that's transformed, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
and you see what is possible.
I
don't
one of my colleagues at the med point I was working at had a very old German Shepherd, and her and I got to talking. And at the time, I didn't have a dog, so my Real Dog Box monthly subscription box would come to me, and I didn't have a dog, so I was really good about giving them out to other people.
Yeah.
And it transformed her dog. Like, her son came home from college and was like, "What did you do with King? It's awesome." you know.
Yeah.
And she's feeding 100% real now, and so that was my first really look at seeing a dog transform. I didn't have a dog at the time, so it was nice to have a way to share those treats and watch people grow.
Definitely. So tell us about the educational offerings.
So we have two courses right now.
Mhm.
The dog parent course we released back in late 2022 and have had a lot of good feedback, a lot of current students. Several have graduated from the course, and it's broken down into 7 units. I started with what is the history of the dog? How did we get to this modern dog? And why are dogs, considered carnivores versus omnivores versus herbivores? And there's a big debate with that. Some people still consider them omnivores. I personally don't. So I could take you through that, and then through all of the nutrients that the dog needs, the macronutrients, the protein, the vitamin, or the protein, the fats. And then we go through vitamins and minerals and how to balance all of that. Talk a lot about why carbohydrates are not necessary for dogs and actually are doing harm. We talk about life stages of how to feed raw during all the life stages, and then what happens when nutrients are off, like what kind of diseases, all the skin problems, ear problems, diabetes, cancer, obesity. We touch on all of that. Now, it's not a comprehensive look at all those because that's too much for the course.
It's geared toward introducing the new behavior.
Right.
And not letting them go too far wrong.
Exactly. So my goal was to teach dog parents to do what they want to do confidently and correctly, so they can have the conversation with their veterinarians, not be scared. Because most people that feed raw are like, "Ooh, do I tell my veterinarian?" We want you to.
And don't you love it when they say, "My vet raved about how well my dog was doing, and then I told him I was feeding raw," and then all of a sudden the whole tone changed.
Right. So this gives them the confidence to say, "No, this is how I'm doing it. These are the components I'm putting into it. This is why I'm feeding the way I'm feeding." And then we also go through some myth debunking about feeding raw does not cause aggression. The bacterial concerns, we touch on those. We touch on imbalances and the expense. We really dig into why this isn't more expensive in the long run.
Huge myth.
Right.
And I guess, yes, if you're feeding a 100-pound dog a really top level commercial pre-made, yeah, it's expensive, but you got a 120-pound dog.
Right.
That's a big part of it. And
certainly, well, that and like in the article that I wrote, I went through all the different expenses you're going to incur if you're feeding poor food.
Exactly. You're definitely not going to be visiting the vet for skin issues, ear issues, GI upset, that sort of thing. I think one thing we don't consider is how much we can save on our own food, because we have that freezer in the basement, garage, wherever.
Yeah.
And now, since everything going in there is pretty much human quality and in a package and safe, we can buy in bulk for ourselves and save money.
Yeah, I never had considered that option. And that's true. We can work it together. I live with my daughters and grandkids right now, and she harvested a deer that she had shot over in November, and we harvested everything for the dog, and actually her cat too. So all the parts that people don't want to eat, or just, the trimmings, and, we had bags and bags of stuff to give the dogs.
Well, and times of year when food is cheap, such as Thanksgiving turkeys, if that's in your feeding program and it's 39 cents a pound, grab a
Right.
bunch up.
Right.
This is my personal crusade, and I want to share it with you because you will appreciate this. If there was one thing I wish did not exist, it would be Balance It. Because it is for those of you that don't know, cruise around it, see what it is. But basically, it will let you put together any combination of foods, and then they will throw a supplement in and call it nutritionally complete. And I have a blog where I took a recipe that a veterinarian created on there and one that Balance It provided. And they are both wildly inappropriate. The Balance It one is called Italian Dinner for Dogs. And it literally is spaghetti, a meatball, tomato sauce, and their supplement. Oh, and some industrial grade corn oil.
Wow.
And I could see some Italian grandma saying, "Oh, I can make this for my dog every day."
Yeah.
And the one the vet formulated was supposed to be low carb for a kidney and pancreatitis dog. And it was 51% rice. And it was just crazy. Crazy stuff. So this Balance It is like, as Diane's pointing out, chicken and peas, really? There is no nutritional theory or knowledge found at the Balance It site. Yet vets recommend pet parents go to it. And actually boarded nutritionists often use it.
Wow.
So please develop an alternative to this because it's needed. I'd like Balance It to just fade into the sunset.
I love our Feed Real calculator.
Yeah.
It's extremely easy. You put your dog's weight, age, and approximate level of activity. And we give you all of these options. And you'd say, okay, right now I can find chicken wings at a reasonable price. So you plug that in, it tells you how much, other muscle meat, how much organ meat, fiber, the whole bit. And we create a shopping list. We say, okay, you're going to make 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of meals. You hit that button, it sends you a shopping list right to your email.
That's really handy. And, it's easy to get lost in the food aisles, whether you're at a warehouse store, right, a supermarket, or shopping the list from your local raw feeding co-op. But to have something that all puts it in a package is really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I use it when I'm trying to figure out what I need.
And too, as Janet points out, Janet is one of my team members. She's got 7 freezers. But her best friend says,
that's too
you can
funny.
see why I love having these women on my team.
I love that.
Yeah. So on your website, Diane wants to put in the link for where they find the courses. So is it at Feed Real?
Yes.
So feedreal.com?
Yeah, and it's just Feed Real, and then you can just put / you don't have to put .com.
Oh, okay.
Just Feed Real / courses.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
And so, this sounds like it's very achievable for someone who doesn't yet have a lot of nutritional knowledge.
Absolutely.
And, these are the people who are afraid, as you said. That's the number one thing I run into when people want to start feeding fresh food, whether it be cooked or raw. And, they want to do it right. They're really concerned about that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you do put the .com in there. Yeah, she got it.
Figured it out.
Yeah, figured it out. Thanks. Yes, you don't need any background knowledge. That's why we started very basic. And I had a dog parent, a totally random, dog parent that I know did the course. And she said that she felt like it was basic, challenging, and there was some repetition that was really positive because it brings you back. In the next unit, reminds you what you learned in the unit before and then how to apply that. My teaching, so I taught at the university level for probably about 20 of the 32 years I was there. And my teaching method is to teach you how to apply knowledge. I don't want you to spit it back out at me. I'm
Right.
not going to ask you how many, how much you're going to need on a specific day or, whatever. I want you to be able to take the knowledge we give you and use it. And so that's how we built the course, is to be practical, to allow the dog parents to use it, to have it available, and
Mhm.
then apply it. And then we encourage people to take the workshop afterwards, and that will give you the hands-on, make you feel comfortable actually creating that 1 to 2 weeks of food. And we talk you through it. We make our food with you. So it's a really good supplement. And then just having all the information on the Feed Real website,
Yeah.
especially if you're a member, then you have it all levels at that time. So there's just a wealth of information. I can't keep up with a number of things I
Well,
want to write about.
the field, fortunately, is exploding.
Hmm.
And, with the work of the group in Helsinki, Dr. Anna Bjorkman's group,
Yes.
information on feeding fresh food and raw food and in comparison to kibble is becoming more available. And my conventional colleagues who scream they want research, of course, what they want is a double-blinded, placebo-controlled study, which will never happen
Right. Who's going to
because
fund that?
nobody's going to.
Yeah.
But if they'll open their minds to case reports and some of these other types of studies of components of feeding a fresh food diet, I think there's a wealth of information out there.
I
And
think, go ahead.
it's not going in favor of kibble.
I think the best articles that I read are the literature review articles, where they've dug into all these cases, they've reviewed them, they've put the stats together.
Yeah.
That gives you practical information. Like I said, I worked in research, biomedical research, for 32 years. I know how statistics can be played. I mean, you don't like the way that looks, you try a different statistical analysis.
There are lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Yes. And, I don't trust statistics at all. And so, a really good example, my daughter played golf in high school, and there were 3 girls on her team. Very small, and it was a big school, but it just wasn't a real popular sport.
Right.
2 of the 3 girls had memberships to a country club. So the coach would say, 66% of my girls have memberships to the country club.
Yeah.
So, okay, that sounds a lot better than 2 out of 3. Okay, so that's just a really easy example, and that's always stuck with me.
Yeah, that is, it inflates everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like saying 66% of my students go to college.
Right.
That's nice. Or go to a upper tier college when it's just
when it's 2 out of 3. So it's all how they present those stats, all how they run what stats go through. So to me, case review literature is so much more telling. And there's some really good articles out there that I've been tapping into.
And
one of the perks, I was just going to say real quick, one of the perks, because I told you I got to retire from my job, that allows me to use all of their databases. And so I'm able to really dig into the research. And a lot of times people will find a study, but they don't have a link to it because it'll say buy it for $59,
right.
or whatever. I am able to get to all those studies, and that has made a huge, huge difference in my research.
Having a university email address is a very useful. Cornell continues to provide me with information.
That's great. And mine's through the University of Notre Dame. So that's where I worked for 32
you
years.
just sign in through your institution and you've got the full paper.
And I've got the full.
Now, why do you think that conventional vets and, sorry, I have to see. I guess we're just having a windstorm. Why are they so against case studies, or won't they give them merit?
I think it's twofold. It's really hard to go against everything they were taught. And they were just hammered on kibble all 4 years of vet school. The kibble companies, gave them free dog food and cat food all through their
lunches, seminars,
everything. And they continue to when they're in practice. So it's just really hard. And I think a lot of it's the lawsuit situation. So if I say this to my clients and then something happens to my client's dog, are they going to come back and sue me? And I hate to think that. But the world we live in, I know that that's part of it. They're afraid to.
The kibble companies will tell you that you're going to get sued.
Yeah.
So they foster that belief.
Right. And so the combination of those two things.
Yeah, that is huge. And of course, the myth that they think raw meat is going to kill them. Right. That's been the theme of the week. It's like, if raw meat was so dangerous, none of us would survive a barbecue.
Exactly.
What we're doing, we're throwing the raw steaks on the grill and spicing them and basting the raw chicken. And the sauce drips on our fingers and we lick it off, it's just the reality.
Yeah.
But they push that so much, and you must see it all the time with people coming into your program. Do I have to worry about salmonella? Do I have to worry about E. coli?
All of the vets that I have had conversations with, both students of mine from the university that are now veterinarians, because I was a pre-vet advisor at Notre Dame, and all the ones that we have encountered at the conferences, that there's two big concerns: bacterial contamination and imbalances. And so those are the two big things that I address several times in the course, including at the last unit with Mythbusters, saying that, these are the things you do to worry about. If you're really worried about bacterial contamination, let's mitigate the issue. You learn how to clean properly. You clean your dog's dishes afterwards. As far as if you have a dog that's bearded, keep that beard trimmed and wash it off if you're concerned.
That worry.
People are concerned about the feces. Don't you clean up the feces anyway?
And for Pete's sake, don't do it with your bare hands.
Nobody does that.
It's crazy. It's mind-boggling. And there's bacteria everywhere, and that's actually a good thing,
right?
Because we have our normal skin flora, our normal intestinal flora, our low-level exposure to pathogens that show our immune system, hey, this is here, make an antibody. I want to put up Heather's comment and remind everybody, yes, there is a delay up to 30 seconds from when you type in a comment to when we see it. So yeah, give us time. And we also can't always see the comments. So if we haven't hit your question and it's been a while, type it back in. So Heather is talking at the end of this about people who are feeding fresh food wrong, I'll say. The person who comes in and says, I'm doing boneless chicken breast, peas and carrots, and maybe some rice. I get why vets are against that, because I'm against that.
Right.
And this is something that you do have to get right, but right isn't exactly what the kibble companies tell you it is.
Right. That's exactly why, again, we address all these issues with the course, and that's what I tell veterinarians when I'm promoting the course is, we understand, we get that. We don't want them feeding chicken and rice. In fact, we have an article that says, don't feed chicken and rice.
One of those too.
Yeah, there's no nutrient value to that. And we want them to understand that that's why we put this program out there. We want them to understand, we want the dog parents to do this correctly. We get that there can be major repercussions, but there's major repercussions with kibble. And so giving the dog parent the education and all of the resources that it's giving them that educated decision-making choices. They have enough education to say, okay, what do I want to do with this? How do I do this? And they can address all those issues on their own or go back to us. I mean, we are just an open book. We're always saying, if you have any questions, come and ask us about it. And we're working on many courses that will come and get very specific, like skin issues, obesity, cancer, so that we can really get down to the nitty-gritty and address those things.
That's great. Your calculator is getting rave reviews in the comment section.
Good.
As you've probably seen. Diane says it's super easy.
Yeah.
Stephanie says super easy. Good job. So Dr. Heather, this bugs me too. Dogs need nutrients, not ingredients. Where do they think the nutrients come from? And I was on a conference call, this morning with a bunch of really smart people, and we were talking about the differences between absorbing synthetic minerals and vitamins
Mm-hmm.
and going from the food. And it's like, why do people think that because it's a powder in a jar that has exact measurements, that it's more beneficial than that nutrient coming from the whole food matrix?
Right.
I think it's just brainwashing from the kibble company that says we guarantee it's complete because look here, here's the milligrammage.
Right. Right.
Um,
And that's a huge issue is people don't understand that synthetic vitamins and minerals are not recognized by the body the
Yeah.
same.
yeah,
And I was just talking to my daughters about this. We have a cat that we're working on trying to get her back to health. And just the medicines that the conventional vets here want to throw at her, I'm like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep trying to go holistic and
yeah.
keep her from developing other issues on top of this. So
Yeah. I mean, there are times where medications are indicated.
oh, absolutely.
Sometimes you got to put out the fire first and then deal with the ashes.
Right.
But, considering all the different approaches, the ways you can integrate them, and food is such a huge component. And sadly, I don't think my profession always gets that.
Not yet. Let's hope that we'll come around.
We keep working on it.
Yeah. I think of how far I've come in the last not even 2 years. So there's hope. just getting that right nugget in there.
And the biggest thing for me, I guess it might even be for this year, I don't know yet, was having a fresh food commercial on the Super Bowl.
That was huge.
That was huge. And that 30 seconds on the Super Bowl cost $5.5 million.
That's incredible.
So, part of me says, wow, was that the best place to put $5.5 million? But the consumer awareness they created about a different way to feed your dog, that's huge. And of course, there are conventional vets railing about it on social media.
That's great. That's great. They're talking about it.
Yeah.
They're talking about it. And I put a couple of comments and links to it on my site, the Feed Real Nutrition Course Support Group. That's the big thing. They got people talking about it. Yes, it was expensive, but I think they're going to see the return on it.
It's not the perfect diet for every dog, but I'll tell you, I would take that over Acme Kibble any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So, and it will spark interest. It's a decent product. It's available. Gosh, I think are they available in pet stores? I think they are now.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's not them, Just Food for Dogs, which is fairly similar. Yes.
Yeah, similar idea.
But, the consumer can go to the pet store and see these products now easily. And I think post-commercial, they'll be looking for them.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, and Erin says she missed the commercial. YouTube, my friend, they're all there.
It's easy to find.
There were some good ones. There were some that I totally didn't get, but
I actually didn't watch it at all. So
I don't watch the game.
I usually do, but this year I didn't even watch any of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Janet has an interesting comment that, and I have a follow-up, but so much education is needed to help people understand how to read the label and what ingredients to ask questions about. They believe the marketing hype on the front of the bag and never even go to the back of the bag.
It's a huge, huge point. And I actually have a full article in the course on just reading labels, what all those quantifiers mean, 25 or 25% rule, 33% rule, all these different things that AAFCO has out. It can say that it's a beef diet and there can be 3% in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, learning how to read labels is huge.
The new Hills Onk diet, horrible name. but their cancer diet, which has like 5 grains in it and it's chicken and whatever. But there's a comment that it contains blueberries or cranberries below the salt. So in that, 30-pound bag of food, there's probably less than a handful of cranberries. And we know that's not going to have an impact on your dog with cancer, but they can put a big old picture of a cranberry on there.
Right.
By gosh, they've got it in there.
Marketing.
Oh yeah, well, we're pushing back on that product.
Yes. I actually got onto their website and registered as a vet tech so I could see all the ingredients and everything on there. And
you can see the ingredients, but you notice they don't release a complete AAFCO profile.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And that's something that I think the fresh food manufacturers and those of us who use formulation softwares, calculators like yours, we can see. And we can see where those nutrients are coming from and how they're meeting whatever your favorite standard is. But I wrote for the AAFCO. I requested the full AAFCO profile. I doubt I'll ever get it.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that they did feeding trials on this food rather than just saying it was calculated to meet AAFCO standards, which to me says it doesn't meet AAFCO standards in all things. And I want to know what ones it didn't.
Right.
And there certainly are reasons for deviating.
Right. But they're not being transparent. And that's the biggest, one of the biggest things for me is that the kibble companies are not transparent. They're not telling the consumer what's really in there. It needs people like us to really point out all of these truths.
And you should go to the Just Food for Dogs website and register as a vet there. And they give you their full 30-page nutritional philosophy and full data on all of their current diets in a PDF right there. That's what I want from a food company.
Right.
Or somebody who's formulating something for me.
Well, and that's what's so nice about the Real Dog Treats. There's no ingredient list. Whatever's on the bag, that's it.
This, Well, and whether they're chews or treats.
Right.
I always cringe when I walk through the pet store, which I can only do about once a month. And you see the stuffed cow hooves or the filled rawhides. It's like, what is this?
Right.
It's rice, it's glycerin, it's who knows what. Stuff you can't pronounce.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. If you can't pronounce it and you don't know what that word is, shouldn't be in the food. Human food or animal food.
Yeah. And your team is commenting something that many people who buy commercial kibble don't know, which is they don't all make their own. They have contract manufacturers called co-packers. So like when we had the Menu Foods recall back in 2007, that crossed so many brands because guess what? They're all being made at Menu Foods plants.
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to think, Diamond, who's one of the largest co-packers, is it Diamond? Yeah, they make chicken soup for the dog lovers soul. They make Holistic Select. They make a bunch of different things. So it's all in the same plant. It's all the same product.
Right. They just package it differently. Yeah. And the other thing with ours, we not only manufacture everything, we pack it and ship it from our same kitchen.
Yeah.
So that's when we have total control over things.
When Ruby was on with me, we tried to do a tour. We didn't have the greatest signal all the time.
Okay.
But we saw the walk-in freezers. We saw everybody making and packaging just what was being done for that day. It was mind-boggling how big it is.
Well, how big it is, but how few people. And the first time I went out, so I'm located in Tennessee, and the kitchen's in San Diego. So the first time I went out, I spent a couple of days in the kitchen and, just helping out and understanding what we do there. And I'm so impressed with the dryers that they've made themselves because there wasn't anything commercially available. It just, the whole thing. But the biggest thing that I was shocked with was the few people. Like, I'm like, wait, where's the rest of the team? And they're like, nope, this is it. And the number of customers we serve, it was incredible. It's an amazing team.
Well, and how, I mean, it's huge and everything's spread out, but it was pristine,
Oh yeah,
totally clean. Everything
constantly.
seemed to flow.
Yeah, that's a constant quest there. So yeah, it was very enlightening. And then when I've gone back, I help when I can. Like, oh, we need this stuff packaged. I'll go in and package. You okay? I hate when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the dog hair.
Ah,
But yeah, you step up when you have to.
mhm. Well, and it was a great experience for me because I'm behind the scenes, I'm doing all the writing, and yes, I get the products, but I had no appreciation for what went into it. And now every time I open those products and, I'm like, yeah, I may have packaged these when I was there kind of thing. And
Sure.
it's been, yeah, it's a great, great experience to go into the kitchen and see what's going on and be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the variety of products, the specials, it's a really unique offering in
Yeah,
our area. And it's something that no pet store can compete
no,
with your treats, not by any stretch of the imagination.
yeah.
Um, and do you have statistics, and this may not be your area, but of how many people, what do your customers feed? Are they all fresh food feeders? Yeah, or a
No,
specific
I
percentage?
don't have stats on it, but one of the things that we advocate for is adding fresh food to kibble if that's what if that's what you can do. A lot of people aren't ready to totally switch from kibble to raw, and we get that. I know there's some places and some websites that are just like, if you're not going to drop kibble, we don't want to talk to you. We're not. No, we understand. And in fact, again, there's another article on using kibble for toppers and the
Sure.
benefits that you receive for that. So percentage wise, I don't know, but I know a lot of our customers use it as kibble toppers, as treats, as chews. Um, and they may not be totally raw yet, but
Mhm.
it's a great transition to that.
It really is, especially, I think, if they're adding vegetables to the bowl, because we know the vegetables that are on kibble are crap. They're
Right. There's
moldy, they're
nothing there.
spoiled, there's nothing there. And just a fresh source of B vitamins, of antioxidants,
Right.
and the like. And of course, if they can throw some quality protein in there,
Right.
even better.
Right.
But sometimes even my vegetarians will, they're more open to throwing vegetables in the bowl.
Right.
And I'm never going to get them to add meat
Right.
because they don't want it in their home.
Mm.
Um, I everybody's got their thing.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we advocate for is
But
just
if
do
they'll buy
what you
your
can.
product and sprinkle it on, great.
Yeah, exactly.
Or add a meat chew on top.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And and I quoted studies that have shown that just a small amount of adding greens or adding
Yeah.
egg or protein or whatever will really enhance that diet and help the dog out.
Yeah.
The only
Team is you up.
oh, there we go. Okay,
Yeah, there's our numbers.
there's our numbers. There's my people.
Well, and that thrills me because 90% to 95% of the world feeds kibble.
Mhm.
We can't ignore them. We can't stick our head in the sand.
No,
We
and we
need
can't shame them either. That is not our goal.
no. Open them up to new ideas is my goal, not shame
Mhm.
them.
Exactly.
Um,
No judgment. I get it. Everything is expensive, and if you're taking good care of your dog and you can add a little bit in there, that's great. Do
mhm.
what you can. Our boxes are great for adding kibble toppers. Look in your refrigerator. There's stuff in there that you can add.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So,
Janet has a question. The other course that's on your site.
okay.
We
Okay.
haven't
Yeah,
talked
we didn't
about
get to
that.
that yet.
That's cool.
So, like I said, we did create two. So when I first was tasked with this, Ruby wanted me to come up with a course that would be both beneficial to veterinary professionals and dog parents. Well, we quickly realized that verbiage wise and content wise, I couldn't ride that fence any longer. So we finally had a conversation. I said, we need to break this out into two. So we got the dog course adjusted and put that out. And then with the professional course, the reason that we haven't released it is we're trying to get RACE certification for that, which is for continuing education. And we are working on that. We're very close to that. Our release date right now is going to be right in the beginning of March. It may not have that RACE certification at that point, but it'll still be pending. But if you take the course and it gets certified while you're taking it, you would still get the credits. So the course is ready. Other than the tweaks I do daily, but and I'll do that no matter what. But
as research comes out and stuff, there's
absolutely
there's
everything. Every time something comes out or a recall comes in, we'll look at that. Like the vitamin D recall last week, we looked at that and we included that in with recalls, and so I'm constantly updating the courses. But yes, we're going to release it soon. So it will be geared to veterinary professionals because they can get the CEs, hopefully. But it's also geared to anybody wanting to use it as a professional career path. So let's say you wanted to really get into nutrition to work with your own clients, work with dog parents. I would suggest to wait and take the professional course. One of the differences, you are required to take the workshop at the end. With the dog parent course, it's recommended. It's an add-on. This is included in the price, and you have to take it in order to pass and get your certificate.
That sounds great.
Yeah, we're real excited for it.
Workshop is also online, right?
Yes. It's a virtual workshop. Right now, Ruby is teaching those. She's having me take over in April. So I'm still learning on all that.
Time commitment do people need to plan for?
It's about a 2-hour.
Oh,
but you need to prep ahead of time. So again, when you sign up, we have you go to the feed calculator, get what you have available, what proteins and basically what bone you're going to be able to find. And then it'll give you the list and you go out and source the food yourself. And then we help you prep it into daily meals, get it in the freezer. At the end of it, you'll have 7. We strive for 7 meals while doing it. Other people have gone out and done all 14 days. If they want to go out 2 weeks, they have to probably catch up and do that on their own afterward. But yeah, it works out really nicely. We talk throughout it. We have comments, questions. As questions come up, we'll shoot them articles that related to those questions. It's very interactive. We follow up with people, make sure that they had all the knowledge that they wanted. Did you get the answers? Again, we're very transparent. We love to have conversations with people.
Yeah, and that's it's a community.
Yes,
and that's what I think we can foster that very well.
And they can go to my link, real.dog/K, and get 10% off of all these products. Yeah,
good. Somebody will put that in the links. For you. These guys are ready for a road trip. I've never known 2 people who just want to pack the dogs and go.
And the nice thing along with that road trip, I don't know if you're familiar with the meatballs we put together at Real Dog Box, but they're meatballs made with all 6 components of the ancestral diet. And they're little meatballs. The dog that I have here where I'm living, she's 33 pounds. So she can get 6 to 7 a day, and those would be complete meals.
Oh, that's nice.
You rehydrate them. You don't have to rehydrate them. A lot of people break them up and use them as training treats because they're so yummy. I mean, she sees that bag come out and she just goes nuts. She's to the point. I live with her owner, and he is slowly realizing that we're not going to be able to give her kibble anymore. So, she'll leave the kibble sit there, and boy, she'll open her eyes to those. The meatballs. So those were great for on the road because they're in packages. You can rehydrate them when you're out and about, and they're all measured exactly what you need.
Yeah, that is one challenge that kibble feeders don't face.
Right. When you're traveling.
What do I feed my dog when we go places?
But the meatballs work out great.
The meatballs, they're freeze dried. There's all sorts of things. And as long as you're going someplace where there is a store that you can get fresh protein that will last on ice.
Well, like I said, with our meatballs, they're all there. Everything's in there. The bone, every bit of it. So, and they're air dried. So you just stick them in wherever, and
They're shelf
you know,
stable.
they're shelf stable. Yeah, they work out great.
That sounds great. I'm just checking the comments here. The link, Diane, is above there. We'll get that in there again for you. And Feed Real articles. So many great resources on the website. And I think this is something that people don't always think of a company that sells product as having good resources.
Right.
But especially with your commitment to the educational component, there is. And you can learn, and it's independent of being sold stuff. Because we experience so much clickbait when we want to read an article these days.
Nothing on ours.
Nothing.
It's all, you just read through it. There's no, I hate all of that. You can't get to the rest of the article and you're trying to read it.
Yeah. And it's, or you read the article and all of a sudden your Facebook feed is filled with,
yes, information on that.
Yeah, with faucets.
You can just talk about it anymore and you'll start getting, that's scary.
Yeah, that is really scary. But we got a new faucet put in by my boss in the surgery wash area. And all this, I looked at it online and all of a sudden I'm seeing faucet ads.
I know. No matter what. Yeah. I have grandkids, so I'll look up something for them. I get undated.
There you go. Any chance you'll ever go into the human side of things?
Me? Never again.
No, with Real Dog. Diane says we need human meatballs.
Yeah, no, we will not, because that's a whole different. The big thing we get asked all the time is, what about cats? And I would love to someday seg into cats, but we have so much to do for the dogs first.
Yeah, right. And cats are not little dogs.
No, absolutely not.
Their own unique requirements, and sometimes
it would be a whole new endeavor.
Would be the real cat.
I do a lot of research on the side for, like I said, my daughter's cat's having some issues, and then I talk to the holistic vets we work with, and so I do that on my own. But it'd be a whole new endeavor.
It completely would, and cats are challenging. You say, I'm going to feed you this, and they're like, hell, you're not. I'll walk away, and no.
Yeah, we have 2 cats in the homes that I'm staying at, and the one loves raw meat, and luckily she's the one that we're working with and trying to get some issues. The other one looks at you like, what do you think you're feeding me? It will have nothing to do with it. Yeah. So
one of the first vet hospitals I worked at, we always got Chinese takeout on Fridays. And the hospital cat was addicted to the little cubes of pork in Chinese pork fried rice. And he would just be climbing all over you when he smelled Chinese.
That's so funny.
But otherwise, he just ate kibble. He refused all canned food.
That's funny. Yeah. Our one, same way.
Yeah. Jack. Now, Jack, you must tell us your secrets. Because that's a battle people fight.
I think getting them switched is the battle. I think once you get them there, it's probably
not as bad,
not too hard. But yeah, like I said, Otto is like, I don't know what you're trying to feed me, but I'm sitting here until you put those brown pieces in my bowl.
Yeah. Sprayed with pallets and rendered.
That's right.
So this has been great, Kay. What is the one thing you want everybody to know about the courses, about Real Dog?
I think the biggest thing with the Feed Real site and the courses is how user-friendly it is. We really want to speak to the dog parents. You still use a lot of terminology. The nice thing is there's a glossary connected with it. So if it's a term we don't think you're going to know, you click on it, it goes over to the glossary and you can learn it. So I did not dumb it down to the point where I did not put any of those types of words in, because I think people need to be familiar with them. But we also provide the glossary. So again, it's very user-friendly, and I added some repetition so you keep learning it. I teach so that you can apply the knowledge. That is the biggest thing for me with the course, is you will leave the course with knowledge and the ability to use it.
That sounds great. And one more time for your code, it's real dog or feedreal.com/K.
No, it's real.dog
Real
/K.
dot dog.
Yeah,
/K,
real.dog /K.
KAY.
Exactly. And that will take you to my page where you can get discounts on the courses, actually on the Real Dog stuff too.
Good. Okay, we clarified that. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time today.
You're
Because it's been
welcome.
great, and especially with our hiccups at the beginning.
No problem.
Are you going to be at the expo? Are you coming?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Excellent. So everybody will
Yeah.
be able to talk to you and even possibly sign up there because there's
Oh yeah.
your
We'll have sign-ups there, and
everything.
really looking forward to the event.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Well, thank you, everyone. We're going to
Yes.
sign off and let you get on with your Friday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.